the stage in the EU LCS.
Those early Lee Sin plays setting them off right, but now we're into the early stages of the pick ban phase. Game 1, Fnatic versus Misfits. Jace taken off the board. We're not going to see Zach either. Nobody wants to deal with him today. Not a chance so far. Very
likely to see Xayah banned away too. I know that both these AD carries have been preparing for it quite a lot, given that they didn't, and going to MSI, they've had a lot of time to play on the new patch, and they have been experimenting with some of these new picks, some of these new champions. And I wonder if we'll see the Respect Cannon ban taken away from Reckless.
And if Fnatic are still going to go for it, right? That's the question we have to ask, because we saw Fnatic with that style dominate the vast majority of Europe. But the question is that still what they're focusing on? Is that still what they're working on? Do they have something new up their sleeves? Because if anybody is going to break the meta, it's not Unicorns of Love anymore. It is Fnatic that we are expecting front and center to be picking up some interesting options.
Yep, and so far, they have taken some of the new picks off the board. Fnatic, actually the team to ban away the Xayah, will look for an early first rotation of very likely to be the cannon. Remember that you can flex it both top and down the bottom over in the LCK. It has been a high-value ban simply because of the flexibility and the power that he does bring in the top half of the map.
But more priority coming in on the jungle position. We've seen a lot of popularity for Elise recently. The jungle meta doesn't seem to be changing whatsoever when Zach is not available. Elise and Zach banned away. Elise is going to get picked up here, and maybe a Graves to follow on the side of Misfits, but it's not really a playmaking champion for Maxlord.
They could go for a fairly safe bottom half of the map, like go for either a Lulu or a Karma, still very strong in the current meta, or they could go for the champion that we were just discussing, the ability to flex it. Remember that Alfaro, when he did bring it out in the top lane, he was able to get that backdoor sneaky surprise play with the cannon, able to net a victory back during spring. And it offers so much power in the top half of the map. We also have seen Hans Summer bring it down the bottom lane.
Yeah, but he's not interested in giving you the opportunity to talk about flex picks, because the Varus now coming in as well. We said it before, we'll say it again. So far in Europe, the only person who can play AD Cannon is Reckless. If anyone picks it up, can't be too confident, but that's not the case for Misfits. They've got the cannon on the top side of the map, Varus in the bottom lane, and now Fnatic really got to figure out what they want to get here.
So now, was wondering whether or not they might go for the Thresh as well. We already saw a high priority for it from H2K. The all-in power that it does provide is very potent. I'm so curious as to whether or not Fnatic are going to early rotate their AD carry here, because conventionally you would go for, hey, maybe they go for something like a Caitlyn, maybe they go for something like an Ashe. We want to play it safe. We're not about, you know, doing anything crazy, but it's Fnatic, right? How adventurous they want to...
There we go. I saw that Caitlyn. I was like, don't do this to me, Reckless. I trust you. You're going to pick something weird. And there it is. Tristana coming in. Not a priority for any other team in the world, but a priority for Fnatic here, going up against that Varus.
So good sieging coming out from Tristana. Also great all-in power, especially around the level 6 mark. So it very much speaks to the Fnatic style of picking up these unique champions. And for Misfits, they can just continue to play it safe. So far, they've got what is effectively a very meta composition. I would expect them to go for something like a big tank now, somewhere in the jungle. Put Maxlord on something like... In the past, he was well known for picking champions like Rek'Sai and Rengar, who can act as these beefy front lines. But remember how prevalent tanks are in the current meta. Maybe he could be the first one to bring out off Sejuani.
I always try to forget Tank Rengar, and then you describe him as a beefy frontliner, and I'm brutally reminded of how awful that experience was in solo queue. But Gragas also one available. We've heard it's being flexed into the jungle a little bit here and there, but really taking their time in the second ban phase. Options to round out these composition, options to ban away mid lane. Fizz taken away. Not looking to give that to Soaz or Cap.
So now Fnatic very likely to ban away the supports along with junglers, given that Fnatic already have their Elise and Thresh. Brawl was picked earlier on in the day. I think that Tahm Kench could be a very big takeaway as well from Fnatic. We saw how powerful it can be at MSI, and I think that it just does so well into the pick style that Thresh can offer, along with the Elise as well.
Too. You just have so much CC, so many opportunities to lock people up. We saw Che really roaming, making plays for the team. Maybe Tahm Kench can, you know, minimize some of that impact, but for now, Tahm Kench going to be banned away. Fnatic clearly on the same train of thought as us, not interested in dealing with the pick denial, not looking to give Misfits a shot to keep their champions alive. Lucian banned out as well. We have to assume for Caps in the mid lane.
Yeah.
We saw what it can do. We saw Xie just about dumpster faker with it, so we have to assume that a lot of people are going to be able to kill people with the Lucian.
So now I feel that you just go for a safe support. Braum does naturally well into the Thresh. The ability to disengage his hard engage is very effective, but also it synergizes nicely with the Varus because he can follow up on those kind of engagements from the Varus ultimate too. He provides a lot of great peel, and he just basically acts as a massive brick wall that Fnatic have to find some way around, given that a lot of their engage and a lot of their tools are primarily single target.
Well, Reckless versus a brick wall. Excited to see how that one pans out, but Galio now locked in for the top lane for Soaz. May pair nicely if Reckless wants to dive deep into the enemy back line. Will definitely match up pretty nicely against the Syndra, but big question marks as to how the early lane will go against a pick like the Kennen.
Ooh, now this would be really interesting from Fnatic if they do lock in the Taliyah. Now, the thing about Taliyah is over in the LCK, she is a super popular pick. She is so much based around playing for the team. She's about roaming around the map, trying to set up plays in bottom side, top side. She works well when she's kiting and just basically supporting the rest of the players in the team.
This is Fnatic.
Exactly, right?
Playing for the rest of the team means playing for one man on that team, and that man is Reckless, and he's already got a hyper carry picked. He's already got multiple champions there to back him up. Thresh to take him out of safety, Galio to make sure if the fight does go down that he's not taking any damage, and now Taliyah who can just roam down to the bottom lane and say, well, you've got a wall, Braum. I can make one too.
So it's going to be exciting to see what Fnatic can do with the Taliyah, because typically you wouldn't expect that Taliyah to be the solo carry in World Caps. A lot of expectations were put on his shoulders coming into Spring Split because a lot of people believed him to be this prodigy young mid laner that could upset a lot of the current talent that we have. He didn't quite have the start that he wanted, but he definitely progressed throughout the split, bringing out really cool picks like the Kale is one that I distinctly remember, and getting a few solo kills down onto Perks as well. So we'll have
Which is more important now that Perks has proven himself on the international stage. It's like bonus accolade there. But two very interesting compositions. A lot of picks that we've seen before, a lot of picks we've seen in the international meta. Kha'Zix coming in for Maxlor. A bit of a surprise here, but a very aggressive champion in his hands. And Taliyah, something special for Cap, something we haven't seen so much of.
Yeah, and this is a big matchup for both these teams. Remember that in Group A, last split, G2 were the main powerhouse, and then it was Misfits consistently dominating over Fnatic throughout the regular season. But during the group draft, UOL saw Fnatic as a greater threat than Misfits, and with the loss of Kakao, people are expecting this to be a weaker form of Misfits.
We'll have to see how has the offseason paid off for both these lineup. One roster swap on the side of Misfits, but Fnatic still going strong. 5 members after an insane second half of the split to rise up from the bottom of that group. Come into that third place match to prove they're the third best team in Europe. But will they prove more here? Game 1, the third place rematch. Fnatic on the blue side, Misfits on the red. Vedius, what are we watching here? What do we have to keep our eyes on?
Well, we really have to keep our eyes on Caps, because going into that mid lane matchup against Syndra, one thing that she is well known for throughout the world is for being a laning powerhouse. She's all about pushing, she's all about harassing, and while on this Taliyah, you arguably should have stronger push, especially when you get a couple more levels into your queue, you still have to be so mindful of the all-in power that Power of Evil possesses. He decided not to run Cleanse. This could be a big risk, especially if Maxwell looks to try and make some early plays, but once Caps hits that level 6 mark, that's where we want to see him roaming around the map. That's where we want to see him grouping up with Broxah, him being the primary wingman, and then moving down to the bottom half of the map and trying to get Reckless going on this stretch.
And I like how much respect Power of Evil has given over to Broxah on that Elise, taking the cleanse for himself. Even if Taliyah's not taking it on the opposite side, yeah, you're going to give up a little bit when it comes to trading back and forth in lane against that barrier, but now you don't have to be quite so scared of that early game Elise power. Here we go, though. Looks like a calm setup for now. No crazy Zyra setups in the level 1 on bot side. A bit of a throwback. Some sports we haven't seen in a long time. Thresh up against a melee matchup. Won't be all about the push here early on. Maybe a bit of a shift here in the bottom lane meta, even if a lot of the faces have stayed the same. And of course, Doran's shield, quick shot and Officio touched on it earlier, but makes it pretty easy to stay happy and healthy in that bottom lane.
And some of you may be wondering why the Galio in particular has not gone for the early Doran shield, because especially against someone like Kennen, who's all about getting that auto-harass down and just trying to poke you out of lane, you would expect it to be something that helps you get through that early laning phase. But Galio really values the mana regeneration along with the additional AP to help you shove, help you try and push that Kennen underneath the tower to, in that way, make your laning phase that little bit easier.
And interesting here, Soaz giving up a little bit of experience to take down some of those Raptors to help Caps actually pick those up and get an early level 2 over Power of Evil. Makes a lot of sense to give Power that respect in the mid lane after he had a pretty excellent split last year. But now Caps is confident to keep moving forward, definitely taking the better end of that trade.
Yeah, really good, confident play there from Caps. He wanted to try and get an early advantage to force Power of Evil back, and you can see that he's already being forced to use a health potion. So the fact that Caps has this health advantage means that he now has a little bit more control over the lane and will alleviate that early pressure that Power of Evil was looking to exert, better setting him up for that level 6 play where he can start to have an impact around the rest of the map.
Look from Jez is coming in. They're taking a lot of damage. Wall goes up to keep him safe. But so far, Fnatic doing very well in their individual lanes. The only lane to be sacrificed this time around is Soaz, who is struggling against the pressure put down by Alfari on this Kennen.
That's an example of where, while the mid laner got an early level 2, Soaz will be a little bit behind in terms of experience, along with Alfari being able to look. You can see already hitting that level 3 mark, just looking to put down the pressure onto the gallery. This is what you'd expect early on. Once Soaz gets a little bit more armor under his belt, though, then he's going to be feeling a lot more confident going into that 1v1 matchup.
For now, things remain pretty Kennen favored, but it's pretty calm across the map. Waiting for the Elise potentially to make some plays with that early game power, while Maxler may want to counter gank, but for now is content to just keep farming up. And, you know, a pretty passive early game, only 3 minutes in. Do we expect the same thing we've seen from Fnatic in the past, where when the trigger gets pulled, when these teams gets aggressive, that it's going to be all about the bottom side?
Well, that's what I think the better place to play around would be, especially when you have a Tristana who's very reliant on the scaling. And usually you want to use her to start sieging around the rest of the map. She is so strong at being able to take down these towers. And remember, with the Rift Herald on the board right now, I could easily see Fnatic looking to try and make an early play around that too. So in terms of early pressure, I think that that would be the best place to play around. Now, one thing I do want to highlight is the fact that look at Caps. He's already picked himself up a door and ring. He hard pushed Power of Evil underneath the turret and was able to get a very early back off. That means that he's able to pick himself up a control ward, the rejuvenation pot, along with an extra Doran's Ring, which will just give him a little bit more ability power, help his pushing, along with giving him a bit of extra survivability during the laning phase as well. And this just gives him a much easier laning phase, which is very much what we wanted to watch out for coming into this first game.
Looks like easy laning phase is the name of the game, though, as Power of Evil will back in time to match the double Dorans. They're refillable as well. So identical buys on both sides. The difference in the champion not going to matter yet in terms of itemization. Cap's doing his best to hold on, and Broxa waiting in the wings, maybe hoping he can catch Alfari out, hoping he's going to get a little too aggressive. In goes the Justice Punch, not going to land the taunt. Alfari just going to flash to safety. Big sign of respect.
Yeah, exactly as you said. Showing towards Soaz, look, if you're going in for this kind of engagement, you must have an ally nearby. I'm not going to risk getting taunted in the first place. I'm just going to get out of there. The thing is for Misfits, though, they're not using this information to do anything on the rest of the map. Look at the positioning of Maxtor. He's just continuing to farm.
Vedius, I'll be honest, after watching Fnatic last season, I was expecting constant action here in this early game. But it looks like both teams kind of taking it slow in their first game on stage.
It's only level 4, mate. Calm down.
All right, I'll be honest, I've had a lot of caffeine. Time is not moving the same for me as it moves for you. I feel like I'm watching in slow motion right now.
Slow motion, like Caps is literally walking into lane like, get there faster.
Maxler has to be careful here, though. Only level 4, Caps level 6. Movement speed steroid coming in from the adjacency to the wall. A little bit more. Stormraider Surge making it pretty easy to get in and out on those quick trades.
Oh, okay. Another interesting itemization shift that we're seeing is actually on Reckless, going for Berserker's Greaves. Those, people may not recognize different kinds of boots, because typically all you ever see in the game are Ninja Tower. And usually it just helps in terms of the 1v1. It mitigates so much of the basic attack damage and just gives you such valuable armor into the early game. But Rex is saying, look, I want to get this early attack speed. It'll help with my push. It'll help with my ability to siege. And he's just saying that, you know what, I don't even need the armor. I'm Reckless. Why am I going to ever be at threat of dying?
I like how his analytical insight that you've theoretically voiced for him is that I'm Reckless. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, Hansama doing his best to push up. Should have the advantage as Avaris, but explosive shot, as you mentioned, the passive on that, keeping this creep wave pushed. And Jesus just constantly threatening to throw out those Qs. Maybe looking for a bit of a pick here, maybe looking for a little bit more action. But now as we look across it, no real reason to fight right now. Cloud Drake on the bottom side. Rift Herald still minutes away from fighting. just going to be the push back and forth, both teams waiting, looking for an opening or an opportunity to maybe find a gank here. But level 6s are starting to come in, and this could be the big shift.
Yeah, look, you can already see some vision being invested from Fnatic into the bottom half of the river. Caps is just moving off into darkness, because what this makes Misfits do is have to play defensively, because they no longer have any idea where Caps is. They're like, could he be roaming bot? We do not have enough vision in the river. That's why Ignite had to drop this ward over the wall, just in case Caps was coming for this movement. That's resulting in a bit of loss in experience, a bit of loss on farm, and Misfits are just always on edge because they don't know where Caps is trying to move around.
And you got to see Alphari happy to get the CS lead on the top side. Gets the Cole as well, really doubling down on the advantage he's going to get, but he's not pushing for more. He's not looking for solo kills. He's not looking for anything crazy. Does not want to take risks here in the early game, but got to say, Galio, kind of a champion that will contribute more to team fights as we move later in the game. The damage reduction, the taunt, everything there. And maybe now it's time, Bedius. Maybe it's time for Alphari and Maxlore to bring it back here in this early game.
So this is just a list of the different teams that these two individuals have plays on. Back in 2015, they played for a well-known UK team known as Team Infused. In 2015, they played on a challenger team that participated in the PGL tournament to Infinity Beyond. And in that tournament, they actually won. And they took down the original roster of G2 as they were developing and coming into their first split of the LCS. So these guys, they have been around on a bunch of different teams. They have that experience, but we're yet to see Maxlore even invest any time into Alphari. He doesn't want to try and help this superstar top laner. He doesn't want to make him his Beyonce.
Which I understand. Because I really love farm, and it looks like Maxlore does too. So much so that Misfits, they're going to send their bot lane up to help Maxlore farm, to help take away that red buff, to make sure Broxa can't get it either.
And we have to admit that with the vision investment from Fnatic into the top half of the map, it makes it a little bit harder for Maxlore to be able to camp Alphari as well. So Broxa, maybe he knows about the legendary duo. Maybe he's like, no, I'm not going to allow you that opportunity. I'm going to put some deep vision down and stop that from happening.
Maybe that's the option, but either way, it's still a red buff trade in the end. And Caps and Power people just continuing to poke at each other. No lost chapters coming in yet, no Morellicons, no major damage spikes, so it is still just the battle of push. But now Caps maybe looking to roam to the top side, is poking in, they have the necessary vision. Alphari wants none of it. Backs off and drops a ward there on the top side.
Good communication from Misfits. They realize that they have no control of the top side of the map. The only ward they have is the one that Alphari literally just placed. And Maxlore, he's nowhere near the top side, so Brox is using this as a window to try and set up a dive.
Oh, Alphari. That cannon does a lot of damage. We know that. But if he gets too close to that wall, if he tanks that Elise Cocoon, there goes the Justice Punch. Out comes the taunt. The flash not quite up in time. That's going to be first blood. Quick and easy. Fnatic make it happen.
Clean, calm, calculated play from Fnatic. The Justice Punch it made it too easy. This time Alphari didn't show the respect. This time he didn't try to flash away. It was up and available, but instead it will result in Fnatic getting themselves their first tower of the game.
And you got to think it's so difficult, even if the Cocoon missed or the taunt missed, to survive under that tower against an incredibly tanky Galio and Elise who can reset the tower aggro. So just well played in the end by Fnatic. And now so has evening it up on the top side of the map. The early game advantage that we thought would be for Kennen now starting to fall apart a bit.
And look at Caps, he now realizes with the top under Fnatic's control, he wants to try and invest a little bit more into the bottom side of the map. Jezus, he was moving very forward up into the lane, putting the lantern behind him, allowing that opportunity to come in from behind. Let's have a look back at this replay. Before Alphari, he chose to flash out of the taunt. This time he did not, and when you chain that kind of CC, it becomes a very easy kill. So good setup from Fnatic, and their pressure continues as they've netted themselves now a little over 1,000 gold lead.
And I like how we initially predicted it might just be all about the bottom lane. Well, actually there's members on the way, so I'm going to hold that thought, because in they go. Oh, there's the entrance, but Soaz not going to find it. Jezus does, though. Quick hook to pick that one up.
4-man Fnatic down in the bottom lane. This was the play that we expected, and it becomes all the more easier after taking down the top turret. This is just standard League of Legends. One tower down, next short to follow, and Fnatic taking full control over the map.
Dead even for the first 9 minutes. I still feel like we're 20 minutes into this game after the farming we saw there, but get a kill on top side, immediately roam bottom side, make another play, break another tower. This is the high-speed League of Legends we expect from Fnatic. They are still just a team that ups the tempo.
And the thing is, you have to wonder, right? Because a lot of eyes are on Maxlore right now. Was this the correct decision to take Cacao off the roster and put Maxlore in? Because expectations were better communication. Maxlore is just overall better for the team. But so far, Misfits are not doing anything. The one thing that Kakao was really good at was just early pressure, getting a lot of deep vision down early on and enabling his laners to play however they want. But we're seeing Misfits always playing on the back foot, and this is just another illustration of that. It is so easy for Fnatic to force this all-in engagement when there is no Galio on the map, when they have nothing to worry about on the top side. He still has his CP to join so they can keep his tower alive, and it means that a second tower goes in favor of Fnatic, and now they're sitting on a 3,000 gold lead.
And just what do you do as a Varus? Even if you fire out that ultimate, you lock down the Tristana as she's mid-leaf, there's still going to be a Galio coming in on top of your face. No way to stop that from happening. Fnatic now in absolute control. No need to take the Cloud Drake. They're just going to keep pressuring out these lanes. And as you said, I don't feel like we've seen anything from Maxlor yet. And I think that forcing him onto this Kha'Zix was an incredibly good move from Fnatic.
It could, I mean, I agree, right? Like, the thing is, he also had a lot of opportunities, though, because the mid lane is a great opportunity to try and gank. The bottom lane has Hansama's ulti in terms of being able to force all-in engagements. You have a far in the top, sure, it's a little bit harder to be able to gank that Galio, but early on, they maybe could have gone for a dive. So he took a lot of harassment from Alfaro during the early phases. So I feel like there were opportunities that Maxwell could have tried to take advantage of, but he was never really able to force anything.
Fnatic now looking to break their third tower of the game. So I was ready to go in on a moment's notice, but there's the Rue locked up. Caps is in trouble, not going to get a chance to grab the Lantern. That's a kill for Maxlor. Misfits striking back, holding on for now.
So this is the picking power that you have from Power of Evil's Syndra. Being able to use that QE combo on a mid laner that has a pretty short range with no cleanse as well means that you're just a prime target for Misfits to be able to capitalize. So good kill from the side of Misfits, but can they turn it into anything else?
And one of the big weaknesses we always talked about last season was Misfits coming back when they got behind in the early game, adjusting to these kind of crazy games. But now they started the adjustment out. They've summoned the Rift Herald, they found that pick, and they're looking to even up the gold.
And this is a great example of how to properly use Rift Herald, because you have effectively a full minion wave with a Siege Cannon minion in there too. That means that there's so much more damage coming out off the back of the Rift Herald as well, and it's not being the single target that the enemy team has to try and clear out. So he's able to get a bit of extra damage, she is able to get a bit of extra damage down onto that tier 2 as well, but Misfits can be happy with the objective that they gain.
And we can see this as we watch again, the chain CC potential from this composition. Not enough respect paid by the side of Caps, and just locked up perfectly to deny that Lantern as an escape option.
Yep. So now we do have the completed Abyssal Scepter on top of Soaz. Now, for viewers at home, they may not realize that there have been a few changes to it. It now gives you health as opposed to flat AP. It no longer is a mid laner item, it is a pure tank item, but it still has the same passive. Nearby enemy champions do take 10% more magic damage, and there is a fair amount of magic damage on the side of Fnatic, so it's a good buy, and it will help against some of the big damage dealers in the form of Power of Evil, along with Alfari's passive ability damage.
Yeah, the Swippy swap, and we see the Null Magic Mantle coming out for Power of Evil. That will turn into no longer the Abyssal Scepter, but probably the new Banshee's Veil. Still the same spell shield, you know, just not tank stats anymore.
Yep.
Don't want tank stats, we want damage, so it's got 70 ability power and the 10% CDR.
The Veil makes your spells hit harder. Fun fact.
Really?
Yes, because now it gives you 70 ability power.
Oh, got
as
it.
opposed to
I was like, what are you
before.
talking about? Which part of it is the... All right, anyway, there's a fight and a wall, and Ignar on the wrong side of it. Not at all where you want to be. Instant takedown here on the side of Fnatic. Good wall coming in from Caps.
You have a good wall, Ignar, but unfortunately Caps is better. Now with a single member down, this frees up this mid lane tower for Fnatic to go back and take what they started originally.
And it feels like all these plays start with a single pick. One death just leads into these major objectives. Misfits not looking to take a disadvantage fight. Jesus just gets it over the wall, but Maxlor's going to flash to safety. Fnatic just going to keep the pressure up. Wave cleared good, though, on the side of Hansama and Power of Evil. They're going to hold on.
Meanwhile, Alfari, he's trying to keep pressure up in the top half of the map. There are a few wards that he could go for a TP flank with, but as Ignar was dead, Misfits did not feel confident enough to try and force engagement. So it does end up being a kill and a tower, once again going in favor of Fnatic, with what has been a fairly slow game so far. A little bit surprising that Fnatic...
Vedius, I'm going to say something that you said to me earlier. It's only 15 minutes.
It is.
You're getting trapped in the same thing I am. There's action. People are trading towers. People are making aggressive moves. You get excited.
Calm, calculated
Baron's not even
Fnatic.
on the table yet, and these teams are already breaking down everything.
Yeah, but I'm still reminiscing about, you know, the fact that Fnatic were the team that did lane swap. They brought out the Aurelion Soul mid. Like, that's the team that I have in my head. And now, clearly the team has grown. These are fairly meta picks.
You ever wanted to watch
Tristana
Tristana 1v1 on Kha'Zix? Oh, no.
No, no.
I hope not, because you're not going to see it.
Usually what happens is he hits Kha'Zix in the face and Kha'Zix runs.
Really, I was going to say Kha'Zix just like if it's anything like solo, Kha'Zix just one-shots him. Or is super underfarmed and does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's one of those two options. But this is a throwback to the wall. Oh, and it got interrupted as he tried to dash to his teammates. The hook follow-up made it easy for Fnatic to be able to get that collapse.
And I feel like when we talk about Fnatic, one guy that we often skip over is Jesus. But this man has been consistently hitting hooks, and it was the same story in the third-place match. He landed so many crucial hooks to help Fnatic start to break the base, to help Fnatic find these picks. And you have to start to wonder, it's not the Zyra anymore, it's not these aggressive lane picks, but this Thresh, is this something that you have to take away?
Thing is, I think that what many may not realize is Jez has actually played on as a substitute the original G2 roster before it actually joined the LCS during the offseason. And back then, he was actually playing a lot of support Thresh. Thresh was one of his go-to picks back in the day, and something that he's actually been very comfortable on for a long time, but it never really became meta. And now that it is coming back, he's kind of going back to a comfort pick, and he's demonstrating how much value he does have when he's able to get a champion like that.
I mean, when you're a veteran player, when you have a lot of experience, and you're a support, we know you've played Thresh. Season 3, it was the end-all, be-all of supports, and no matter what is popular, it feels like it always finds a way back into the meta. So I think we can safely say no surprise to see Jesus being an experienced hand with that champion.
Yeah. And so far, he has gone for the Eye of the Equinox, which now gives that passive shield once you do complete the quest, which I feel is extremely valuable, especially around the mid-game. It scales with levels, so the higher you get, the bigger your shield, and it just gives you that additional tanky frontline. So Jesus and Soaz sitting on the front are going to be making it difficult for Misfits as they're looking for a potential play.
Jesus still waiting to complete the quest, though. Won't get the shield quite yet. Looks like he's at about 640 gold out of the next necessary 650 to upgrade it, so one creep away before he can get that extra bit of combat stats. Reckless keeping with the classic. If that turns into a Runaan's Hurricane and then a Frozen Mount, we'll know he's back.
Yeah. There he is.
Or he may build an Infinity Edge. Who knows? No. Wall comes out. I like that from Power of Evil. Doesn't even throw it in a ball. Just says no. No, sir.
Stop. Stop it now. Also delays getting into the lane a little bit faster, but regardless, you can see that Fnatic continue to have main control over the map. Misfits do have a lot of deep vision behind, so maybe we see a TV flank coming in from Alphari.
Fnatic got the first dragon. They're looking to get the second. Maxlor not in a good position to contest right now, however. We'll start to move into the pit. Baroxa, has he given this one up? Because the blow stack's starting to go down, but in they go. Maxlor deletes Jesus. The TP is on the backside, however. Reckless still alive, still healthy. They're locked in the pit. In goes the grand entrance, and Talia gets the damage reduction to keep her alive. Caps is fine for now, so as leaps back into the fray. Do they have the damage to keep this going? Doesn't look like it. The Power of Evil and the rest of Misfits, they're hesitating for a mere moment before they back off. Scuttle Crab movement speed in their favor. They can get control of this area, but can they risk getting picked off?
Fnatic, they're still sticking around, but they're only 4 members to 5. Alphari, look, he's got the push in mid, and the stun does land.
Unraveled Earth, Ignar leaping forward, have to be safe here. Soaz looking to get the taunt, flashes forward, in goes Reckless, looking for the resets. That's going to be 1, looking for 2. Is he going to leap over the wall? Are they going to chase for more? Well, Caps sure is. Reckless hungry, going to move forward. Ignar blocks the shot. Crucial survival moment.
And Misfits, even though they had the numbers advantage, they chose to keep Alphari mid. They thought that with his ultimate down, they were not in a strong enough position to go for it. And Fnatic were just buying their time, using Caps to just very slowly get this bit of chip damage down. Reckless doing what he can to throw out the bombs to add to that poke, and then the moment there was a slight overstep from Misfits, that is when Soaz pulled the trigger, and because of it, they get themselves a few kills, they get themselves a dragon, and they're continuing to control the map. So just keep your eyes, you're seeing how extended this trade is. Here comes the flash taunt. Misfits have spread out, and again, just look at the positioning of Alphari. He is not with the rest of his team to help them try and turn this fight in their favor. And Misfits, it just feels like they're not properly coordinating, and where is this additional communication that we were expecting?
And this is the thing, is that they are saved by a single ability from Ignar in that instance. He would have killed Ignar and Power of Evil. Who knows what Fnatic could have done after that? Maybe they just back off. Maybe they push for Baron, but either way, that could have been an even bigger advantage, and it's not because Misfits out-executed. It's because that cooldown came up at the right exact time, or it could have been so much worse.
So Fnatic, they're looking very strong right now, though, continuing with the success that they did have from last split, seeming to be a little bit more meta, a little bit more standard. They are definitely playing very well together, and I'm looking at Jez's in particular, who's setting up a lot of these successful plays.
Have to wonder if it's the meta that kind of came into Jesus' favor with that Thresh pick, or if just like, okay, I will stick to the meta and I'll focus on it. But I like that we have 4 standard picks. You look at this could be an LCK draft, except for one part.
Yeah, except for one part.
And that Tristana is already working out incredibly well. We know it's a scaling carry, and Misfits, they picked something in the early game. It's Alfari. Not going to work out so well. Now is taunted up, is locked down. Just an easy walk down on the side of Fnatic.
Al-Dedri is the honest truth right now. Misfits, I have no idea why he's sitting down in the bottom lane pushing by himself when Misfits have no real pressure anywhere else. You can even see Handsome. He's pushing out top lane. To me, it does feel like a communication breakdown from Misfits. They're not entirely sure what they should be doing at this point in the game. And Fnatic, they're just utilizing the fact that they can see exactly what Misfits are doing, and they are ready for everything that comes their way.
Things just look good across the board for the side of Fnatic. Brock's a 0, 1, and 5. Participating in so many of the team's kills, only missing out on 1. Everyone doing excellent so far in terms of these individual engages. While it has been a real struggle on the side of Misfits, I feel like they gambled. They took that cannon away from Reckless. They put it in the hands of Alfari. Yes, you deny that power pick, but it's an S-tier pick for Reckless. It's not quite looking like an S-tier pick for Alfari.
I mean, you'd expect early game for it to be pretty powerful, but we can just see here that he falls behind early. There's no real pressure that he can put onto the Galio anymore, especially given the fact that he is 0 and 2, and then Cap's just utilizing his semi-global ulti to very swiftly move around to the bottom side of the map. Now you see a Baron being started.
Baron, the all-important moment. Maxlore, you want to earn your spot on Misfits. Now is a good time to start. Can you steal it? 2.4K getting lower. Fnatic holding on. 1.9. Maxlore, is he going to go over the wall and try to start this one up again? Just going to let it reset. Fnatic taking a lot of poke damage. That could be an advantage for Misfits, but they're not going to push any deeper. Just Ignar poking at the edges here, maybe looking for an opportunity, but over the wall goes Reckless. No fear, not the right way on the shield, and that means Ignar is dead. Fnatic not looking to get the Baron, though. They want to keep this ball rolling. There goes the wall. It's blocking off Misfits perfectly. The only way they can go is back in their jungle, but they want to take the fight. They want to keep it going. Caps just barely living in the end, and either team pushing for more.
The magic resistance from that Banshee's Veil paying off right there as Power of Evil not quite able to get the kill down onto Fnatic's mid laner, but Misfits, they played that very well up until a point. They were just sitting around the back of the Baron pit. They had good enough vision with which they could go for the steal, and in that sort of scenario, there's no guarantee that you get that objective. So Fnatic, they wisely back off, but it then gives Misfit priority over mid lane. That's a great opportunity for them to start pushing down that towards that tower, and actually maybe even take it away from Fnatic, because they're forced to take the long way around. But then Ignar isolating himself make it easy for Fnatic to just go, let's just jump onto Ignar, and then they get themselves the kill. And you can just see here, like, Ignar at this point, he's just overstaying. Maxlore too. The fact that they're in this position without their team not putting focus on this tower makes it so easy for Fnatic to get that kill. And the fact that the shield went the wrong way as well, that's not what you want.
Yeah, rough game from Ignar already. Denied that escape on the wall earlier. Now caught out, just trying to make what he felt was the right macro play, not respecting the pick potential coming in on the side of Fnatic. And that just feels like it's been the story of this game. Fnatic utilizing their picks so well to take down members, and now utilizing them to take down the Baron. We'll see if Misfits can contest this one.
This is a very quick Baron take. The TP is coming in from Alfari, and immediately Fnatic disengage.
So as leaping forward, Justice Punch going to get the taunt onto 2. The Elise is knocked up. Unraveled Earth means Ignar has to leap out to safety, but Reckless is doing damage, backing off, trying to get the perfect positioning. So as going to bring it back, does not take the corruption with him from the Varus ultimate, and that means Fnatic can walk away.
The thing about Fnatic's composition is it's very difficult for them to successfully get a hard engage with their composition, because who can reliably bring in that Galio to the backline? I mean, you have Reckless, sure, but this team is more about kiting, moving backwards into the fight, relying on Misfits to actually be the engagers. But given the disadvantage that Misfits are in, they're not willing to take that risk. So Fnatic are being forced to play around this Baron to try and get Misfits to be baited into a fight.
Broxa taken to safety now. Misfits clearing out the Baron vision again, looking to hold control of this area, make sure they know if Fnatic are going to push for anything. Don't want to give them the opportunity to do anything sneaky. We saw it from H2K already today. Teams would be happy to get a free Baron. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Bum, bum.
Talia.
Bum, bum.
There's the wall. Alfari moving forward, trying to do what he can. Unraveled Earth is going to come out. Alfari, no freedom to flash, but it's knocked back. Beautiful combo. Unraveled Earth. Buster shot backwards. All too easy.
And this is the great thing about Talia as a fight kicks off in the jungle.
For more, there's the entrance coming in, and Maxlore's all by himself. The stealth may not be enough, but he's still alive. Jesus is all alone. Broxa backing off. Maxlore's going to live, but Power Power does not want to see the same on the opposite side. Maxwell running for his life. He's isolated the opposition. 1v3 though for Power of Evil. He's running back into enemy territory. He's going to have to do some fancy footwork. Some impressive moves if he wants to escape this one. Ward comes over the wall. Blue buff thrown in. He says, hey, back me up here a little bit. Durant comes out. Cleanse comes into safety. Power of Evil just keeps moving forward. Where's the Justice Punch at? Caps, you have to respect this. Wants to get a little bit more. Can he take Caps out? It does not look like it. The moves, the footwork, the dodges out, and Caps manages to survive.
Fnatic get themselves even more kills. And ironically, Misfits are stuck between a rock and a hard place as they end up losing one more time to Fnatic. And we see Alfari sitting in the top side. This time, Misfits are in a slightly better position to get the collapse, but they cannot move fast enough. Reckless using his ultimate to deny that ulti CC coming out from Alfari. And this is where Fnatic, they try to come for a collapse. They think that if we get this flank from behind Misfits, we can go for a hard engage, especially with Soaz sitting in the middle of the fray. But then it works out on the top side, but Power of Evil on the bottom is trying to salvage whatever he can.
And I had eyes on Maxler, but Caps just rolls up, pops that 80 carry, and the fight keeps going clearly in favor of Fnatic overall. Power of Evil makes some good moves to bring it back, but that's double Infernal Drake now stacking up on the side of Fnatic, and starting to look pretty difficult for Misfits to come back in this game. Yes, it's only a 4K gold difference, but you're looking down at steadily scaling Tristana. Things just look good.
But it backtracks to what we were talking about earlier. Fnatic have no reliable way to force a fight. They need to catch a target out of position, and they need Misfits to be in a situation where the Galio can then come in and then be that initiator. But Misfits, they're not actually forcing any of these fights. They're not really doing anything on the map, and they just have to wait for Fnatic to go back to that Baron, and then that's the opportunity where they try and find themselves a pick. Maybe they steal away the Baron. They're relying on the fact that Fnatic have a big win condition that they have to play around, and Misfits, they can just keep sending Alfari off onto a side lane, and maybe he can be an alternative win condition for the side of Misfits.
Potentially an option. Can Galio just continue to go toe-to-toe here? Does have a bit of armor, a bit of magic resist, building towards the Gargoyle's stone plate as well. Maybe a Frozen Mallet to come next for Alfari. Conveniently, a Frozen Mallet next to come for Reckless, but we've potentially got a fight on our hands. I love Reckless. See, here's the thing. You look at Reckless's match history, do it, because OPGG it, FNC Reckless. He has it out there. It's on pro builds. It's available for the public. Look at his build path. Blade of the Rune King, Runeans, QSS, Frozen Mallet. This man is consistent. He loves these items. Don't know why. Presume because they're great, but he builds them every game.
HP, damage, and it's because he's cool. Applies that slow, helps you stick with your primary targets, also gives you a bit of extra peel, I suppose, but it's also just a Reckless item. If he's comfortable on it, then why not, right?
Plus gives you a little extra HP. Power of Evil not going to one-shot you consistently. Maybe, it's still Syndra, but a little extra help.
Yeah, it's still Syndra.
A little more difficult, you know? And that's important. Well, for now, the Baron Dance, clearly the focus of both of these teams, pushing waves just so they can move back in, to deny a bit of vision, to get a bit of vision, to get any edge they can over that pit. Remains the central focus for now.
Just looking at the gold, the real big difference is between the two AD carries. Hans Summer, unfortunately for him, has been the receiver of a lot of the damage from Fnatic. By playing on this Varus, he doesn't have the escape tools that someone like a Tristana necessarily would. And it's been difficult for him to get a lot of the farm because Alfari and Power of Evil have actually been soaking a lot of it up. So he's kind of been denied, and he's really been put in this awkward situation where it's difficult for him to contribute to his team.
All going to miss from Hansama as well. Things just not going in his favor. He doesn't have that tanky top laner.
Yeah.
Like Soaz on his side. Yes, he has the Braum. Yes, he can block a ton of damage. It is a very impactful champion, but it's not a Maokai or an old Maokai. New Maokai, not quite the same. It's not, you know, it's not that traditional tanky frontliner.
And we do wonder, you know, going back to the draft, would that Gragas been a better pick, right? We did see the Rek'Sai come out this morning from LCK. Another alternative for the side of Misfits. Did they need that frontline tank? Did they need someone who could be that initiator for them aside from an Alfari flank? I mean, they're all possibilities and things that they perhaps could adapt coming into game 2, but for now, things are continuing to move slowly. Fnatic, they're going to try and rush down this Baron, but Misfits
not
have
a
vision.
fan of slow. Fnatic going to keep the damage going up. No control ward to spot this out. Misfits are completely aware. Looks like Fnatic may just be content to start the 50-50 or just to bait Misfits in for the fight, but it's getting lower and lower. Jez is going to land the hook onto Ignar. That's exactly what they want to start a fight. Ignar going to get picked off. So as knockback stops the taunt from hitting multiple members. Good from Power of Evil coming in, but Justice has to run to safety. Grand entrance dodged out. Alfari waiting for an opportunity in.
Oh!
There's the Weaver's Wall. Surprise, you're in Fnatic's house, and they want to keep the ball rolling, but no! Denied back. Power of Evil not going to have it. No resets today.
So many small, fantastic outplays coming out from either side. Caps with the flanking wall. The knockback from Power of Evil to prevent the follow-up engage, but Fnatic still have priority over the Baron, and they're going to force Misfits into the fight.
Soaz just goes back. Soaz is going to TP in, but Maxlor is alive and well. Going to keep this one going.
Another hook.
Just lands another hook. Hansama's the one in trouble. No mana, but it does mean the Chains of Corruption come out. Do keep him alive for now. Alfari with no ultimate. Teams trading blows, but no one going to settle on the Baron. Things start to calm down. Maxlor says, I don't need to smite for a few moments. We'll just take the Scuttle Crab.
Oh, so again, Fnatic, they're playing around the Baron. They realize that this is the big win condition, and Misfits, they're being baited in. Two fantastic hooks coming out from Jez's. One onto Ignar and one later on onto Hansama. But here, this is what kicks the fight off. Misfits, they don't feel confident enough to follow up on the engagement. And look at the zoning from Soaz. He cannot get that multi-man taunt off because he gets knocked back by Power of Evil, but then keep your eyes on Caps. Watch this flanking ultimate. Alfari is immediately forced to flash out, and you think at this point, the fight is won. But then a fantastic knockback stun from Power of Evil to completely deny the engagement results in Misfits only losing a single member.
Tanks the hook for Hansama, cleanses out to keep the team safe. Fortunately, Hansama still tanks the hook later. But it's just exactly the fight that they want to start for Misfits, and we were really wondering, Misfits, are you going to be the team this season that can come back when you do not find those early game leads? And they haven't come back yet, but they are holding on, and they are showing good signs of life here.
This is fun. It's nice to see Fnatic being pushed to their limit. They're playing around this Baron very, very well, by the way.
They still have double Infernal Drakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely still heavily in favor of Fnatic, and I just want to heavily highlight how well they are playing around this Baron. They're not super hard committing, they're not taking too many gambles, they're always respecting the possibility of Maxwell trying to steal it away, and once again, they move back towards the objective, and they're going to try and force Misfits into another fight.
Going back, 5k health, Cap's just poking. Keeping Alfari in the squishy members low. Cap's going to do his best to sidestep, lose about half his health. Ignar once again caught out to start the fight. Their support just keeps getting hit over and over again, and Fnatic are more than happy to take that as a cue to get the fight rolling. But for now, Misfits have to back off, tails between their legs. Jez is just fishing.
At this time, though, Jez's and Soaz are moving out, away from the Baron pit, and they're trying to zone multiple members from Misfits away. I thought they may very well go back to the Baron, but instead they're interested in this tier 2.
Mid lane push being the priority here. Reckless, all too easy for him to break it down at this point in the game. Plenty of attack speed, the satchel charge. Tristana built to break those towers. And Vedius, I feel like, yes, Misfits are going somewhat even in a lot of these fights. They seem to lose Ignar every time, but Fnatic just small advantages. Small advantages. Every fight they find one little edge to get, and it may never be the Baron, but the gold lead just continues to grow in their favor.
And now they're going to get themselves a man and Drake to make taking down that Baron all the more easier. It's a difficult game for Fnatic to close out. A stun does land, but it's Galio, so it's like a pimple.
It's like a stun not landing. You might as well have not cast the spell.
Nope.
A lot of the time.
Just a haha on you, Power, you lost mana. But now look at the priority that Fnatic have on the mid lane. There is no tier 2 as they've already taken it down. Jez is in a position to try and look for a hook being zoned away. But Misfits, like, what are their options as they get engaged on once again?
Wall comes in. Ignar, no! Okay, he's got flash this time. This is such a rough match for Ignar. I don't know if it's nerves, I don't know if it's unlucky, but it's definitely unlucky for Reckless. He gets set to go down, but no! The turn! What a beautiful play coming in for Fnatic. The counter engage is crisp. They use the 80 carry to bait. They make it happen. Reckless takes a deep breath there, but that's a Fnatic win.
And finally, the jungler is dead. Fnatic, they're in such a better position to move towards the Baron because now that threat of a smite has disappeared. And with Misfits losing out so many summoner spells and a lot of ultimates, this should be a big objective game for Fnatic.
Baron health ticking lower and lower. Misfits know they don't have any chance to contest this objective, so they're running in deep to the side of Fnatic. Get down a bit of vision, a bit of a consolation prize. Crowd clearly excited that Fnatic now has a massive advantage in their favor. Poor Hansama. That's all that's left on the map is that tier 1 tower, and he's not going to stick around to take it. Doesn't want to take the risk.
And we have to come back to Caps and this Taliyah, because this game he has had some phenomenal walls, and this play is what enabled Fnatic to get themselves.
I made that mistake everywhere but Reckless.
Just keep your eyes on Caps, getting that two-man knockup onto both Power of Evil and Max Law resulted in such a swift team fight victory. And it's just the fact that in that big chaotic fight, it's so difficult to be able to spot out that Taliyah W. It can be so impactful, and then when Caps does land it, it just swings the fight in their favor.
And you look at it, Max Law, a champion that wants to leap into safety, but when there's a fed Taliyah, throws down that unraveled earth, can you ever reliably leap in without taking 50%, 60% of your health and damage? Well, we talked about Misfits holding on. They really need to hold on here. Siege coming in for Fnatic, double cannon creeps. A Demolitionist in Tristana going to keep the damage pouring out.
It's crazy.
Galio all alone. No one can kill him. Syndra should, in theory, be able to kill everyone. Well, Galio rework says no. Fnatic just going to keep this one rolling, starting to pressure out the inhibitors. Misfits, what can they do to hold on here? Alfari, maybe an ult, maybe a wombo combo, something could go in their favor. But Fnatic, they've been here before, and they're not afraid to just play patient. Just keep the siege going.
They have the Baron, they have the 1-3-1. Caps sitting in the middle lane, has his ulti to weave his way between the two side lanes. And with these Baron-empowered minions, Misfits, they do have a lot of pick power and wave clear. But with the range that Reckless has in this Tristana, with the ability to just continue their siege, means that Misfits, they're running out of options, they're running out of time.
So as the front line that Fnatic need, or the Caps needs, to break down that first tower, that's the first open inhibitor. Fnatic not going to group there, though. They know they can get more, they know they can break the base even more open than it already is. Smite's being burned, just keep those cannon creeps down. Triple control ward, probably not the most efficient placement, but no one's seeing over that wall for sure. And now it's just the Elise. Ah, the wonders of Baron buff and Mountain Drake. Siege continues to go forward. Stun on a Hansama, taking a bit of poke. That could be trouble for Broxa. Out comes the Galio ultimate. Maxlord does get knocked up in the end, but the stealth is going to keep him alive. Play onto Alfari means no counter engage, but Soaz wants to keep this going. Caps is on the side. He's poking, he's prodding, he's looking for a little bit more. Tower still tanked out by Soaz, but Fnatic not even concerned. They're just going to take the tower. They say, Misfits, please just back off. They do. They're more than happy to respect that.
Soaz staying true to his name as the Colossus. He is the tower now, as an inhibitor falls in favor of Fnatic. And now they're looking to make their way onto the next one. 3
open inhibs, 1 already down. Alfari running for his life, can't even touch the Taliyah. Way too much mobility, the works ground. Not anywhere in the base, which means she has all the freedom. There goes Soaz, there goes the Weaver's Wall. Now isolated from the team, Alfari, Hansama, Maxlo, they're going to have to wait. 3 inhibitors down, Baron buff, backing them up. Elder just a minute away. We have to be sure that this is going to be the Fnatic win. If the Dragons weren't enough, if the gold lead wasn't enough, nigh impossible to come back from those triple inhibs.
And bear in mind that Fnatic, the only tower that they lost was in the mid lane, and that was thanks to Rift Herald, who almost always guarantees at least one structure. So Fnatic playing a near flawless game so far. They had a great early game. They transitioned that into a fantastic mid, and they just identified their win conditions, and even though they kept going back to the Baron, they never faltered. They never made a big enough mistake that Misfits could very swiftly capitalize on. It was just a matter of time and repetition and consistency until Fnatic finally found the pick that enabled them to get the Baron and open up the game.
Misfits, they traded some kills. They fought over Baron vision. They gave up a pick. They got a pick back on Fnatic, which allowed them to take that one tower, but they haven't gotten anything since. Fnatic has dictated this pace of the game from the start. And this is exactly what we expected coming in. We thought this style, if it continues, looks good for Fnatic. Looks like they don't feel like they need to change anything here. It's still the same Fnatic style we know, as explosive as ever.
And Fnatic fans have got to be feeling ecstatic right now, because after the resurgence of Fnatic last split, after their performance, they're looking to end the game.
Oh, goodbye, Maxlor. Bomb goes off, still gonna live. Not for Jesus, though. He wants to lead forward. He wants to get a bit more reckless, hungry for a kill. Misfits pull everything together to keep their team alive, but Power now has to flash to safety. Cap's gonna respect the Dark Spheres and back off. But that means the Elder Dragon will be live, available for Fnatic, and Maxlor is going to have to run as fast as he can to make it back in here, but no flash. Smite available. It may just be too little too late. Fnatic, this is the final nail in the coffin. They're more than happy to hammer it home. They take down the Elder Dragon.
Misfits, they have no inhibitors left. They just do not have what they need.
14K gold lead, 5 stack Elder Dragon buff. It's a lot of extra true damage on top of the extra items that you have over the enemy team.
I think if you're Misfits right now, you're thinking, what can we do next game? As Fnatic grouping as a 5-man, looking to get themselves their first win in this best of 3.
Could be easy to have. Misfits, if you want to fight, you got to fight now. Maxwell hoping to poke on the sides, maybe hoping to get a flank, but can he actually take anyone down? Reckless uncontested. Not going to quite break the tower. Alfari poking. Looking for a little bit more. Dark Sphere is not going to connect. Maxwell taking a lot of damage, so as continuing just to threaten. At any moment, he can flash in with that taunt and just obliterate Misfits with the follow-up damage from his team. There goes Reckless. Maxwell leap into safety. Alfari looking for the 1v1. He says, I know that cannon well. Fnatic, they just want to keep it going. They just want to grab a win here. It's all too easy for him. Reckless leaping, hopping, skipping, jumping all over the place. And Caps goes godlike as Fnatic take game 1.
Impressive game 1 of the split for Fnatic. They came back from their break looking good. Remember that this was the team that went to Korea for a boot camp, and even though Reckless did not join them, it seems that as a team they are still performing optimally.
I like the idea that if you haven't seen Fnatic play up until this point, you're like, I see, Reckless just hasn't been updated on the meta. Like, no.
Yeah.
Rookie European